Welcome back to another live and amplified Indie Fusion podcast. I'm your host, Tom Quiet, and we're back at it again with another amazing podcast with an amazing guest who is currently in London. It is 1 a.m. I'm so sorry about that. I don't know what I was thinking when I booked this one, but we have Sophie joining us. How's it going today?
Hi, I'm good, thanks. Don't worry about the time, it's all
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Because that's happened to me once before. I was working through a PR agency. Like I was booking a band through a PR agency, except they forgot to mention that the guy was based in the UK. So I told him, I was like, okay, well, I do my podcast at 7 p.m. Central Time. That's when I do them. And obviously for like UK artists, I'll do something like on a Saturday or Sunday so I could do it a little bit like earlier
Yeah,
in the day
yeah.
or whatever to make it a little bit more convenient. And so I get there and the guy's like half zoned out because it's like 1:30 at night. And I'm like, I wish y'all would have said something. Like now I just feel like a doofus. I just feel bad about it. But glad to have you on. Glad to sit down and chat with you. So you're for everybody kind of getting to meet you for the first time. We have Sophie joining us. You're based out of London. What and are you born and raised in London?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Like,
Yeah.
or I take
Just
it probably.
outside of London a tiny bit, but yeah, really
Gotcha.
close.
Gotcha. The way you kind of answered that, I was like, that feels like you were born just outside of London, but
Yeah, yeah.
you kind of fall in the same trap that I did growing up outside of Chicago, where it's like if I tell you where I'm really from, you're not going to know, but if I say
Yeah,
Chicago, everybody knows where Chicago is. So
exactly.
yeah,
Everyone knows London, so
yeah. So what was it like growing up outside of London? What was your childhood like?
so what do you mean like
What
any
like
I mean
just what was it like growing up outside of London? Like, would did you? Boy, now that I asked the question, I have to try and break it down. Just yeah. What was a typical day in the life like for you? Like just kind of growing up outside of London when you were a kid.
so growing up there wasn't much really round where I live. It's like
Hmm.
a town, but there's not much there. But I pretty much just go like shopping with parents, being dragged around shops, um, always listening to music. I grew up always listening to music. It was passion, loved
Hmm.
it. Um, and yeah, just like we'd go into London a few times and do different things, go to different places. So yeah, we always did something, and it
Gotcha.
was fun. Yeah.
Nice, nice. So you were always listening to music. Were your parents like musicians, or did they like who introduced you to music growing up?
Well, I sort of like got into it myself. Um, so on TV, there would be like I would see musicians like Kylie Minogue. I
Hmm.
used to be like a big fan of her, and I'd like watch her live on stage and stuff and sing her songs. And from there it just kind of progressed, and I always used to listen to music on CDs and like tapes. Is that what
Hmm.
they're like, tapes back in the old days? And it's crazy now how we've got Spotify and everything, because growing back it was just so different. Looking back it was so
Yep.
different. um it was just, yeah, listening to tapes in the car and CDs, and on my headphones a little CD player, taking it around on holiday.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah. I remember those days very vividly.
Yeah.
I remember the cassette tapes, like when I was like 5, 6 years old, the one thing I wanted was a cassette tape player so that I could listen to music. And then,
Exactly.
and then I got a little bit older and CDs had started to come come into play a little bit more, and it was like, okay, cool, and got a CD player, and now it's like all that money I spent on CDs, it's like that could fuel like 20 years on Spotify, and so
Yep, yeah, I get you.
it it's crazy. So you mentioned Kylie Minogue. Is that the type of music you were into growing up, or what kind of music were you into growing up?
Yeah, so I loved Kylie Minogue, Avril Lavigne. She was one that I really looked up to when I was
Yeah.
younger. I loved her music. Who else is there? Justin Bieber?
Fair. Oh,
Yeah,
fair.
that sort of music.
Yeah, I
Pop
got you.
music.
I got you. I got you. And then when did you kind of find out that music was something that you wanted to do, or that you could sing, or, like when did that kind of aspect of music start coming around?
So ever since I was a little kid, I used to make up songs on the spot and sing. And then I'd also have my headphones in and a portable CD player and just be like singing. And then it just like grew on me. And as I got older, I would sing every single night really loud, to listening to loads of songs. And I just sort of knew like, this is what I want to do,
Mhm.
because it just means everything. Like growing up, I could always relate to the lyrics and proper songs that have like deep meanings, especially like sad ones. And yeah, so that. And then for my 13th birthday, when I was young, I got to go to a recording studio, as like a party,
Mhm.
and took some friends along, did that, and then that was when I knew I wanted to like do singing for
Right.
real, because yeah, it just inspired me more.
Right. Okay, so now I have so many questions about that. What kind of recording studio is letting a kid's birthday party come
Yeah,
in?
well, they do parties, so it was just I don't think it was a professional. Well, it
Okay,
was, but it was one where they do parties as well.
okay,
So
gotcha. So
yeah,
it was they did do professional recordings, but they were set
yes,
up for the idea of, oh, hey, we're gonna do something fun and different. Let's have
yeah,
an area where we could have kids come in and pretend like
yep.
they're rock stars or whatever. Yeah.
And then you got to do a music video afterwards. So, but it was in like a little room. So they record it and they give you it on DVD.
Nice. Do you still have that DVD?
I do, yeah. It's a
You
bit
should put it up on
cringe.
YouTube.
No. Oh dear.
So what song was the music video to? Was it, I'm assuming it was like a commercially released song, or was it something different?
Yeah. So it was TikTok by Kesha.
Okay, nice.
So yeah.
Hey,
It's
I,
kind of funny because I tried to do like an American voice. I don't know why, but I just
yeah,
sang American, and yeah,
fair,
it was,
fair, fair.
yeah.
That's and so you were actually singing on it, or were you just like lips
I was
trying?
singing, yeah, singing,
Nice,
and then I gave parts to other people, so we just shared parts, and yeah,
nice, nice. I was just reading an article about Kesha the other day about how the reason she hasn't released music in so long is because it's part of like this agreement she has with her record label that she left whenever it was. So
yeah.
yeah,
Oh no,
it,
it's
it,
not
it
great.
was no, but she's like got it on her marked down on her calendar when she can release music again. And it's like, well, I mean,
I've seen that a lot lately with some artists.
mhm,
There's one I've seen who's got an agreement and they can't release any songs for 2 months or something,
mhm,
but they can't wait to release once it's over.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
happening a lot.
Yeah, the record labels are losing their grip on the industry, I think, and so they're trying to lock musicians into these weird contracts with like weird
Yeah,
stipulations. And luckily for somebody like Kesha, it's like I can eat off of TikTok for the rest of my life. So whatever,
yeah,
you know. So
yeah.
it's a it's an interesting strategy.
It is, yeah.
So um so it after that, that was like your first experience in a recording studio, was the that birthday party?
Yes, yes,
Nice.
it was.
And so coming out of that, obviously you're 13 at the time.
Hmm.
Um, but did that just kind of fuel your passion to start pursuing music, or did it take a little bit, you know?
So yeah, it definitely fueled me more, and I was like, this is what I want to do. What can I do to get there? And I thought about YouTube. I thought maybe I should make some covers and see what happens, see if I get any views. So I did make some, I just started making some covers, and then I kind of kept it quiet. I didn't share it with friends or family because I didn't want them to know, because I thought they'd make fun of me because they're not always like supportive. And I have a sister and she's not really supportive with it much. So um, I thought I'd keep it quiet and just keep it for people who don't know me. And then I eventually told some close friends, and they were happy for me. And yeah,
Mhm.
and then it's just progressed ever since. And I'm still doing covers to this day.
Nice. Yeah, I had a chance to look at some of your covers, and it's really cool. Like the length and how long you've been doing. Like I was just scrolling through it. I was like, that dang, okay, you know, and but I think had you kind of stepped out of your comfort zone in those earlier years where you had shared it with your friends, you would have kind of found more people than you thought would have been more supportive of it. Because I fell
Yeah,
into that trap early on with Live and Amplified, where I wasn't telling a whole lot of people inside my friend group, like, hey, this is what I'm doing. But once I did, it was just kind of like, oh, okay, you know, cool, that thing. Um, but you know, I'm glad you stuck with it, and I went through and listened to a lot of not a lot of your covers, and that was really cool. What, in your opinion, what is the most unique cover you've done?
ooh, there is one where I'm singing sort of a cappella,
Mhm.
but it's from a movie, so I sort of have it quiet in the background,
Mhm.
because I needed some sort of music, but there wasn't an instrumental. It's called Awesome God. It's sort
That
of like a
is it.
religious one.
Okay, I was gonna ask, is it that more of a religious? It seems like a more religious song, but
Yeah, it's from a movie that's sort of like religious based,
catch.
and um I thought the song sounded cool, so I wanted to try it. And then it's got like so many harmonies in
Mm,
it that I tried to copy it, and it took a long time to get right.
mm,
But that's something I'm sort of proud of
nice.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you. What I really like is like the evolution of you as a performer and as a musician, because like obviously you started doing the YouTube covers. Is it 6 years, 7 years?
About like 2012 might have been my first one.
Okay, so then it's longer than that. Like we're talking 12 years then at that point.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's
Okay.
so I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh wow, I'm way off. Okay. Um,
I think
but
so. Yeah.
you know, just kind of watching that evolution of you as a musician, and then obviously as time goes by, you know, the quality of the videos go up naturally. You know, you first start off with no mic, and then you get the mic in, and then all that
Yeah.
stuff. Um, so that's really cool to see, and just kind of see the support you've gained across, along the way is,
Yeah.
cool. And so you do you think, no, well, I'll ask that question later, but um now that you've got, or do you, with all these songs kind of in your back pocket, did it help fuel your creative process as a musician once you started like diving into writing your own music?
So, um, sorry, can you say that again?
So you've been doing the cover videos for 10,
Along,
12 years.
yeah.
Do you think learning all these songs, like learning the lyrics and all that stuff, has it helped you as an original musician kind of expand your creativity? Because, like, I mean, just looking at the page I have open now, you have from like Dua Lipa to Sean Ben, like you've just got like this full gamut of different musicians. So has that helped spark
Oh yeah,
you
definitely.
as
Yeah,
an
yeah,
original musician?
yeah, definitely. So it's all been a learning process for me, and it's any music I've listened to has helped. Any covers I've learned has helped, and yeah, it's been a big inspiration to me. So yeah, it's definitely helped learn how to write songs
Mm-hmm.
and look up how to write
Fair,
songs.
fair, fair. I just realized that you have a Machine Gun Kelly cover. I've got to go listen to that here at some point because that to me that one just seems so far out of left field for me that it's like, okay, I got to go check that one out. So,
Yeah, I love to
oh,
rap as well.
oh, nice, nice, that's fun. I will definitely check that out here after the podcast. But so when did you start recording and releasing your own original music?
So in 2021,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was, someone had approached me and asked if I wanted, because I never really knew how to do my own original music and go out there, and I was a bit too shy to go to a recording studio and sing in front of people.
Mhm.
So someone sort of approached me on Instagram and said, "Would you like to do an original song?" Um, yeah, and then I can sing it from home, like here, and have it mixed and mastered and whatever. And I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. And it worked out, and I was really excited because it was finally something was happening for me after all these years of trying to do covers on YouTube and just hope someone would find me or something. Obviously, not really
Mhm.
gonna happen, but yeah. And then I released my first song August 2021, Until I Met You, it's called. And yeah, it was good. And I was like, I need to start doing this now. I need to do more. Um, I can do it now.
Fair, very fair. It's, it's interesting that you say that like doing the covers, it that you said that you were hoping that somebody was going to discover you, but it
Yeah.
didn't. But it's one of those things where it's like you're trying, you're exer like, to me, every video you did was like when I decide to go to like the gym and exercise, like every video is like a trip to the gym, which
Yeah.
is what more musicians need to do. And yeah, yeah, your views are kind of all over the place. You go from like 95 views to a couple thousand views, and maybe that's more of, okay, this song just has, and not to get too technical on it, but maybe this song has more or better Google SEO on the back end that has more discoverability, like whatever the technical thing is. But at the end of the day, you were doing it because you were passionate about music, you were passionate about singing, And that was the only reason. You didn't have any other reason as to why you were doing it.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
So, and then just kind of transitioning into the like writing and recording and releasing your own music, that's just the natural next step. And so when people find your original music on Spotify and all that stuff, and they go to your YouTube and realize, like, oh, she's not new to this. She's been doing this. She's been in the trenches. She's been, doing her thing. I think that's where people are going to start to realize, like, okay, cool, let's go. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, so you started writing or started recording and releasing your music in around 2021, which that
Yeah.
obviously everybody knows is like right towards the tail end of the pandemic. Was this something that you had been thinking about before the pandemic and then it just kind of turned everything off, or was it something that you started thinking about in the pandemic? Yeah.
I think the pandemic gave me more of a push to do more covers on YouTube
Hmm.
because obviously there wasn't much to do.
Yeah.
And it sort of pushed me to do more with music. And I was quite proud of myself for that. And yeah, I always wanted to do my own music, record it. I just never knew how.
Mm.
And then I sort of learned by someone approaching me, and that
Hmm.
I was able to get like Logic Pro and just learn how to use that. And yeah, it was all a learning experience, but it worked out. And yeah,
Cool. Do you think by taking that step into learning the production aspect of like what it takes to record vocals, instrumentation, building out instrumentation, and all that stuff, has it helped you creatively? Like, do you have a better understanding of the creative process now as you?
yes, definitely. I thought it would be easy, easier than it is,
Mhm.
but with my first song, I'm such a perfectionist with my vocals that I just kept doing takes over and over and over again. And I was thinking, this isn't sounding right. It has to sound good because this is going to go out to the world.
Mhm.
And see, I'm such a perfectionist. And then I learned more as I go along, like nothing's perfect.
Mhm.
And I've learned definitely learned more with the instrumentals, mixing, mastering. So I know more about it now than I did going into it. So yeah, it's definitely helped.
Nice, nice. I've often said with musicians that it's a bit to a benefit them to kind of at least have a basic understanding of the production end of things. Even I understand like most musicians have no interest in going into the production end of things, but it's one of those deals where you start writing and recording your own music and you go into the studio and it just at least knowing a little bit of what you're talking about helps speed up that production process of
Yeah,
like recording music, because it's like, oh, my vocals sound hollow, or and just like knowing how to explain what you don't like about it helps the engineer or the producer or the whoever be like, oh, okay, you want it a little bit full, and it's there. So I'm not even talking about like knowing like, oh yeah, take it up negative or take it down negative zero point 0.3 dBs or like whatever, and not getting into the weeds that much, but just knowing like the basic understanding, which it seems like you've kind of pushed your way and like learned how to do, but even into the more technical aspect because you're actually producing your own music.
well, I wouldn't say I'm making the music,
Okay.
but I'm just doing the vocals and then someone
Okay.
else produces the music.
Fair. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
But I would
Um,
love to learn. how to
got
produce my own music.
gotcha. So with that being said, you you've been since 2021, you've been releasing your own music, and you've been doing a lot of cool collabs with producers and whatnot. What's that whole process been like for you leading up to the release of your debut EP? What was that, 2023 you released?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like kind of leading up to that process or that project, what was that process like for you?
So I was able to work with songwriters, and just like learn how they write music as well.
Mhm.
And it it's it's all it was all a learning experience as well. Um, and then I sort of, yeah, I got help with some songs. I asked my producer to help write a song, and they did. They helped write one of them, and it just all turned out really well, the EP. It took so long to make. It took about like a year and a half or
Oh wow.
two
Yeah.
years, and I wanted them to be perfect. And I think from doing the first one to finishing the last song, you can see how much I've like grew from
Mhm.
them. And yeah,
Uh, So which is it, because you mentioned that it took a year and a half, almost 2 years to complete this project. It and naturally that growth is going to happen over that time. Like when you
yeah,
first start working on one song and then you end on another song, that growth is going to happen. Um, what was the biggest takeaway for you as a creative throughout this entire process? Was there like a pivotal moment or a pivotal lesson that just kind of changed your perspective on music or releasing music?
um, I've learned to like enjoy the journey and not just focus on the end product.
Hmm.
Because when I start a song, I just want to get it done and be like, okay, here it is, it's done. And I'm not much of a fan of like the journey because I get stressed, and I'm a perfectionist with the vocals and the editing and mixing and all that. Um, and I could probably be quite annoying, but I'm such a perfectionist with it. And yeah, I've just learned to like love the journey and
Hmm.
not kind of wish it was over so quick.
Gotcha.
Um, yeah, because my first song I did from that EP was called Arrow,
Hmm.
and you could see the growth compared to my last song, which was Feel Like Dancing, which was a bigger, so much better
Hmm.
song, in my opinion. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but
Yeah.
it's just like more there. And yeah,
Yeah, I definitely would agree. Having this realization, do you think that kind of runs with the whole theme of the album? Because to me, having an EP titled Lilac Haze suggests that maybe you were blind. I don't know. Like I feel like there's a double meaning there, and I'm kind of trying to figure it out. But like you talking about learning to enjoy the journey and not necessarily focus on the end destination or whatever it is, it kind of feels like maybe the album was the story of that journey of coming to that realization, maybe.
yeah, that's a good idea to look at. I've never looked at it that way because I just thought like with the title, I wanted it, I didn't know what to name it.
Hmm.
So that I didn't know what to name my EP, and lilac is one of my favorite colors for
Okay.
start, um, for starters. And then the haze bit is like, yeah, it could mean like the whole journey is
Yeah.
hazy at the start,
Yeah.
and towards the end, I finally see where I'm at.
see the big picture, like it,
Yeah,
and like even if you look at some of the like to me, as you were kind of describing like the realization of coming to enjoy the journey, and your feeling of being a perfectionist and wanting everything to be perfect, but coming to the realization that not everything needs to be perfect, or not everything or
yeah,
nothing is
exactly.
perfect. And then you've got songs like Be Okay, No More. And, you just got song titles like that. And it's just like, I don't think it was all intentional, just because, sometimes it's a happy coincidence, but I think this was all meant to come together the way it did, because,
Yeah.
like everything you're talking about and how everything's just kind of lined up. It's like, I think she was subconsciously telling this story without realizing it.
Yes, I was a bit lost because I didn't know how it would end or how it would turn out or what songs I would think of and
Mhm.
make and create. And then once I sort of finished the EP, I was like, okay, this is what I've got. And now I can see.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Nice, nice. So it's that was a fun little journey we went on. I wasn't expecting to quite go that far into it, but as you were talking, I was like, wait a minute, this is all just lined out too perfectly, right? And so yeah.
yeah.
Um, but before we jumped on here, we were talking a little bit about your new single that dropped on Valentine's Day, Glad I Found You, which you're a featured guest on technically, or is it your song and you're just working with the producer?
So it's mine and a producer's song.
Gotcha.
So it's
Okay.
a shared, yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm
Gotcha.
not featured, but I'm also featured basically. So
Yeah. So,
um it's both
it,
of ours.
okay, I got you. That makes sense. And this is something that you're trying to do more of heading into the rest of the year, correct?
Yes. So I'm trying to focus more on collaborations because I think it would be good and different. It would be
Hmm.
good to work with different people
Hmm.
and different artists because I've always stuck with the same person mainly.
Hmm.
But um, I think it'd be good to learn from other people and songwriters as well because I do struggle with writing like happy songs, for example. I'm more skilled at writing sad songs,
Hmm.
and I just want to learn how other people write songs, and it would be good to just jump on other songs with people, and yeah, I think it would be fun.
Nice, nice. Yeah. It sounds like a cool project. Like, just like, obviously right now, Glad I Found You is a single, and the premise is a single, but like the concept of like a collaboration album, like, I mean,
Oh
E-
yeah,
Ed Sheeran did it with what was it,
he
Project
did
Number 6 or whatever it was, and
collaborations or something. Yeah.
yeah, and so like that whole construct is very interesting, and especially you as a young musician, just kind of like really trying to find her voice, having that opportunity to work with other producers, and maybe one producer is a little bit more pop, the other producer's a little bit, and it's just kind of exploring your voice as a musician, because obviously you have many different influences and whatnot, but I think it'd be a really cool project to kind of continue on with through 2024.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say something, but it's totally gone.
No, it's all good.
uh,
Oh,
I can't
so
remember.
okay, it's all good. If it comes back to you, just interrupt me and say, "Hey, this is what I was going to say."
Okay.
But with "Glad I Found You," what's kind of the story behind this song in general?
So, the I was given the music by the producer, and they said, "Would you like to jump on this?" And I said, "Yeah, it sounds really good. I think it'd be interesting." And I sort of s- struggled to write this song because it's about love, because
Mhm.
it the topic was meant to be about being in love and just loving someone so much. And I haven't really experienced that, if I'm honest. So I can't really relate to it, but I tried my best. And I did also use like resources like other songs, how they explain storylines in their songs. And I thought I could put that in because I mainly just talk about my feelings, what the
Mm.
feelings of the singer and about the person. And I did struggle with it at first, but then I started coming up with the first verse and the chorus,
Mhm.
and I sent it, and the producer was like, I actually really like this. So I was quite surprised because I thought I could maybe do better, but yeah, they really liked it, and then it just grew from there, and it's become a song that's special, I think,
Yeah.
and it's one to remember.
Yeah. It definitely caught my attention. Like, obviously we've had this on the books for, was it the beginning of February I messaged you, or end of January? Like this is obviously, this has been on the books for a while, but
Yeah.
when I saw you had this song coming out, I went in and I listened to, I think the initial song I listened to was Feel Like Dancing, because that's the one that was released as the single off of By
Yes. Yes.
Cast. And so that was the song that I had initially listened to, and I was intrigued to kind of hear what this new song would sound like. And so when it dropped, it was like, okay,
Different.
this is something, this is something. So
Yeah.
and I'm really glad you put it out there. And I think the idea of you collaborating with different producers and whatnot, I think you're going to be able to grow off of this song. And just, I'd really love to do a compare and contrast now, and then at the end of 2024 we sit down and do another interview. And I I think, it'll be a really interesting conversation at that point.
Yeah, I think so. I also think it's good to work with different people and collaborate
Mhm.
because it's different compared to releasing just your own music. If someone
Mhm.
releases their own music, like the audience could get a bit bored and they probably want to see what more you could dive into with someone else.
Mhm.
So diving into this with someone, Tom,
Yeah.
um, the other Tom,
Yeah.
not you.
I picked that one up like today. Like today, I just, like an hour before this, I had like so many realizations. I was like, oh, the guy's top. Oh no, I don't know. It's been a week. I'm gonna just kind of
Yeah.
leave it at that. So, oh,
Yeah, it was just different and something that other people like his people who support him
mhm.
could also find out about me from the
Yep.
song, and then back same with people who
Yeah.
support me, they will know about him. And yeah, it just creates more audience, more
Mhm.
fun, and I think it's probably more enjoyable as well for the
Yeah,
listener
for 100%.
and the artists.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a good community builder, because then, you build the relationship with the producer that you work with, and
Yeah,
then you're both helping each other grow. And so it's just a good, and then just by proxy of you and Tom, now the next one you do, you're going to be introducing Tom to the next crop of people. So it just kind of builds off of each other, which is a really cool idea. Now,
exactly.
the question, I have a really interesting question. Do you find it easier or harder to write music? Okay, to write music to a song like Glad I Found You, in those parameters where a producer sends you like the instrumentation and then you got to write to the instrumentation? Or do you
Hmm.
find it easier to write your own original music and you kind of dictate where it goes?
It's difficult because with my original music, um, like melody will just pop into my head, and because I can't really play any instruments. I
Mhm.
don't know, I don't have any music to make. I don't really know how to. it just comes into my head, and then it progresses from there, and then I'll sing a cappella, record it, and send it to the producer, and they will come up with the music that will sort of work around it.
Mm-hmm.
And there may be a few like adjustments,
Mm-hmm.
but it sort of becomes something which is good. And then I've also had things where I've been given the music
Mm-hmm.
and writing along to it. It varies. I think I found some easy, found some difficult. I sort of ask, what do they want the topic to be about? Um, and then try and build off of that and just go with how the music is. So if it's feeling happy or sad, then just go along with it and see what I come up with. But I don't know, I'd say it is harder trying to write without music.
Okay.
But yeah, it can be both.
Fair. I guess it's one of those deals where they come with their own challenges and benefits, because it's like when you get a instrumental from a producer, it like everything's kind of already locked in, and you've got to try and mold your thoughts in your head to fit within certain parameters.
Yeah.
Whereas like starting from scratch, writing your own original music and trying to figure out the melodies and all that stuff, you have to get that jumping off point, but it's a little bit more fluid in the situation of, okay, originally I had this a little bit faster, but maybe we need to slow it down, let the song, just like whatever it is. So I can see where you're coming from, where they come with both their own challenges and benefits.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
cool. Um, so now that Glad I Found You is out, have you started working on the second song, or are you still trying to find a producer to work
So
with, or
I'm talking to different people to sort of like collaborate as well. And then I sort of want to do some of my own music again with
Mhm.
my original producer. And yeah, I've got I might release something before summer
Okay.
because it's a summer song, which I'm really excited about because this is one of my favorites and I've kept it like in the vault for a while. So yeah, it's gonna be a summer song and it's really good, I think. Um, but yeah, I would like to do some collaborations and work on my own music at the same time. Um, yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. I'm really excited to kind of see where 2024 takes you now that you've got the first big release under your belt with Lilac Haze, and now you've got your second big release with Glad I Found You, and you're starting to find the rhythm, or like, however you want to describe it, everything's starting to kind of come together, and 2024 is going to be an amazing time, and I'm really excited to see where things go for you. Now,
Yeah.
that being said, outside of music, what are you doing outside of music right now? Are you working full time? What hobbies do you like to do? Like, what do you like to do outside of music?
Not a lot.
Fair.
So I sort of lost my job um, back in the end of September because it had closed down,
Mhm.
and I sort of struggled to find something else, and because I've been there for a while, and I didn't know what I was sort of lost in life because I also had like singing lessons and I had to like stop that because I didn't have the money,
Mm.
and obviously I wasn't able to pay to do music much, which was why I've also leaned towards collaborations. Um, but hopefully things pick up again. And I've got a job now, so that's a good thing. So I'm sort of working part time, and I don't really do much other than sleep a lot.
Fair. Fair. I
and
get
music. Yeah.
gotcha. Well, I'm glad that you found got another job lined up. I know how hard it is to be in one place for so long, and then it's like, oh, got to make a change, and then trying to get that change to take place because it's like, oh, I've been stuck
Yeah.
here for so long. I've kind of forgotten how all this other stuff works. So
It's so scary.
yeah, it really is. But I'm
Yeah.
glad that like music is starting to move in a direction for you. I don't know if it's going the direction you want it to go or if it's moving quicker than you want it to. Obviously that's kind of all in your own perspective, but like the fact that your musical career is moving and you've got the YouTube thing, you've got, releasing music. And then did you do a podcast for a little bit or
I did do one with someone, yeah,
oh,
last year in January.
so was that a podcast that you were just a guest on, or was that like
I
a podcast that
guessed.
you were hosting?
I was a guest.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I I
Yeah.
saw it on your link tree and it went to like it wasn't on Spotify anymore. And I was like, oh,
Oh
that would
no. I was
yeah,
thinking, is it gone now? Because I haven't checked. I
yeah.
think it has, but yeah.
Because I was sitting there, I was like, oh, that'd be cool. So because for whatever reason, it just says the way the everything was kind of worded, I was like, oh, she has her own podcast. Cool. That'll be something to talk about. And then yeah, so it
No, no, I was just a guest, but I guess it's expired now. So
fair. Very fair.
yeah.
So with all that, are you starting to dabble into playing like live shows and stuff like that? Like, are you playing like shows,
Yes.
or how's that going?
So I've mainly focused on recording
Mm,
music and just staying in my room
fair.
and being too shy to sing in front of people and an audience. But then I wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone because I know I had to at some point, especially if I want to do singing in my
Mm,
life. Um, so not last year, but the year before, um, I did do like I started to do open mics
mm,
and I was really terrified at first. I was like, there's no way I can do this. Like, what if I mess up? What if people laugh at me, Um, and then I managed to do it with a friend to sort of ease me into it. So they sang and I sang and they play guitar as well. And it went all right. And it was my first time and someone came up to me and said, "Oh my God, you were amazing." And I was like, "Really?" I was so nervous.
yeah,
And then yeah, I've been doing open mics ever since. And then yeah, I'd love to do some shows like
mm,
festivals. Um, so I might apply to some festivals, do some more open mics because I haven't been for a while.
yeah,
And yeah,
sure.
it's definitely been good to get out of my comfort zone. I feel a bit more confident now that I can sing live and stuff. Yeah.
Nice. That's that's really cool because you made that first initial jump, which is always the hardest, which is just doing it, like getting out there and just doing it. It obviously like you figured out a way that would make you comfortable, which is obviously going out there with a friend, and you did it. So I'm so proud of you for that. And
Thank
a-
you.
as you get more under your belt, you'll kind of figure out what kind of live performer you want to be. Like all that stuff will kind of come naturally as you start playing more shows and doing more shows and
Yeah.
releasing music and all that stuff. So I think that'll be a really interesting journey to kind of see as you start doing more open mics. You kind of figure out like, okay, maybe I need to get like a backing band or like whatever. And
Yeah.
I think it'll be a really cool journey just to kind of watch you progress. And I'm glad we kind of came across each other on Instagram, and I'm excited to sit down and watch the journey unfold.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a lot of people have plans for 2024. Like they say, I want to release my own music more like every few months or something. And I'm just thinking, well, I just want to see where it goes, where it takes me, let it pan out itself. And so far it's been okay, I guess. Like yeah, more collaborations and more of my own music, hopefully,
Awesome. Awesome.
and performing.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. So as we kind of wrap this up, do you know what your next cover video is going to be on YouTube?
Yes, I did the video for it the other day. It's a Taylor Swift song. It's
Perfect timing.
what I'm just trying to think what it is now. Let me check. Um,
How many of these do you, or how far ahead do you usually record these? Like, are you usually like a couple of, do you already know like what the next few videos are going to be, or?
um, no, I never
Okay.
used to. So I I've sort of like made a plan in my head to
Mm,
do covers a lot more because last year I did them quite less and they were
mm,
spaced out like over a few months. And I thought, well, I need to get back into it and
mm.
actually stick to it and be consistent. So I want to try and do that this year and release every 2 weeks. Um, and so I'm trying to plan ahead and do the videos in advance
Mm.
and have the songs done as well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the next one is actually it's called Karma by Taylor Swift.
Okay.
So
Nice.
yeah, um,
Nice.
but yeah, I'm trying to plan ahead and just keep it going because
Hmm.
I've sort of like lost touch really
Mm.
over the past year. I haven't done as much as I probably should have.
Fair. Well, I think that that's kind of the key to YouTube in general is the consistency aspect. Like a lot of people don't understand like that
It's so hard.
consistency. Yeah. A, the consistency is hard, but B, that consistency is the difference maker.
It is, yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, and by planning everything ahead of time, and whether you put it in your head, like, okay, when I sit down to record, I'm going to record 2 or 3 videos at one time. So then that way, you know, if in a week when you sit down to record the next video, if your voice is like dry or you got a sore throat, like if you're under the weather, at least you've got a few in your back pocket where it's like, okay, I'm good for right now to kind of get
yeah,
through a sickness or, like whatever it is. So,
yeah. That's a good idea.
yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, but I don't want to keep you here too much longer. If anybody wants to check out any of your music, your cover videos, interact with you on social, all that fun stuff, where's the best place to find you online?
So my Instagram is I am Sophie Music.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure my YouTube is the same. Uh, and then yeah, you can find my link tree on my Instagram page and any other links. So that's the best place to go, Instagram, and you can find anything from there.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with us. It's been an absolute blast. See, it wasn't that bad, was it?
No, no, thank you for having me. It was really nice to chat.
Yeah, absolutely. When you said you were nervous, I was like, I don't want to sound overconfident, but I don't think it'll be that bad. So
No, no. No,
awesome.
I'm just terrible at like speaking and I always say the wrong things. So I'm probably going to listen back and think, why did I say
Uh,
that?
you know what though? In 2 days, you're gonna completely forget about it. So don't worry about it. It's really, I've said some stupid things on this podcast where
Yeah.
afterwards I was like, I just destroyed my entire career. What did I do there? And then like a week later, I just completely forgot about it. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah. I
but
think you're really good though.
oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But for anybody that's listening on the recorded version of this over on Spotify, we will have Sophie's link tree. We're just going to put your link tree under there, keep it super
Yeah.
simple and all that stuff. You can find her socials, her Spotify, both her YouTube channels, which I thought was an interesting decision to have two separate YouTube channels. But
I know. I'm not sure what to do about that, but
it
it's
it makes
a
sense. I understand it. So
yeah. If you
but
do, yeah.
yeah. But I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with us. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we will catch y'all later.